hot under the collar. You're crazy.
Jack Nicholson is among the best actors of the 20th century. He is being described as classic and greatest in his time, with the most popular movies like The Shining. Several reports said that Jack Nicholson is suffering from a cognitive disorder. Is there truth behind this controversy? Is the five-time Oscar nominee facing a tragic diagnosis? Let's delve into his personal life and his current condition now. How is Jack now? Jack has been out of the public eye since October 2021, causing concern among his family, friends, and fans due to his long absence and changing appearance. After spending over a year in seclusion at his home on Mulholland Drive, worries about his health have intensified. Sources have informed Radar Online that Nicholson has chosen to withdraw because of memory problems. At 76, he struggles to remember his lines, which has raised alarms among his close friends, leading them to suspect he might be dealing with dementia. While Nicholson hasn't confirmed any diagnosis, the signs of social withdrawal and memory loss align with common symptoms of the disease. An article from the Cleveland Clinic highlights that age is the biggest risk factor for dementia, with most cases occurring in people aged 65 and older. Now at 85, Nicholson is well beyond the typical age when dementia tends to appear, which could greatly increase his chances of having it. Nicholson, famous for his powerful performances and major impact on film, has reportedly stepped away from acting. His friends believe this choice is linked to his declining memory. Sources close to him say that while he still keeps in touch with some family members, especially his son Ray, whom he admires a lot, he seems to have moved on from an active social life. Rumors suggest that Nicholson is showing signs that are often connected to dementia, which is a term for cognitive decline that can disrupt daily living. Memory loss is a major sign of dementia, and pulling back from social interactions is usually one of the first things to happen. Although Nicholson hasn't publicly acknowledged these health issues, the observations from those around him are raising concerns. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, dementia can involve various symptoms, such as trouble with communication, attention, problem-solving, and judgment, as well as difficulties in recognizing everyday items or remembering names of close friends and family. While discussions about Nicholson's health are still speculative, they emphasize the need for awareness and early detection in dealing with dementia. Friends and family are encouraged to watch for any significant changes in behavior or cognitive abilities, not just for Nicholson but for anyone showing similar signs. Early medical help is vital and can give individuals a clearer understanding of their condition and how to manage it. For now, Nicholson's situation serves as a powerful reminder of the challenges that come with aging. Early life and education. John Joseph Nicholson, as his real name, was born and grew in Neptune City, New Jersey. Jack Nicholson's mother, June Frances Nicholson, was an unmarried showgirl. To hide this fact, Nicholson was raised by his grandparents, who pretended to be his parents, and with June acting like his sister. According to his biological father, there was no hard proof of his identity. According to articles, it was Italian-American showman Donald Fersillo. It is also possible that Jack's biological father was Edgar A. Kirschfeld, a Latvian-born entertainer known as Eddie King. Some sources suggest that June Nicholson may have been unaware of her child's father's identity, who was possibly her manager. Nicholson has decided not to pursue the issue or undergo a DNA test. When Jack was ready for high school, the family moved to the affluent neighborhood of Spring Lake, New Jersey, often referred to as the Irish Riviera. His grandmother, Ethel May, opened a beauty salon. Nick, as his high school pals called him, went to the nearby Manasquan High School, where the class of 1954 elected him class clown. In 1957, Nicholson enlisted in the California Air National Guard, which he occasionally described as an attempt to dodge the draft. The Military Selective Service Act from the Korean War era still applied, requiring draftees to serve up to 2 years of active duty. Following his basic training at Lackland Air Force Base, Nicholson served as a firefighter assigned to the Van Nuys Airport Unit, participating in weekend drills and 2-week annual training. Nicholson was called up for many months of prolonged active duty during the 1961 Berlin crisis and was released at the conclusion of his enlistment in 1962. He was made public in 1974 by Time magazine in interviews about his life. At the age of almost 40, it was revealed that his parents were actually his grandparents, that his sister, June, was actually his mother, and that his other sister, Lorraine, was actually his aunt. According to Nicholson, he has no idea who his father is. His mother and grandmother were aware of it, but they kept it a secret. His mother and grandmother, regrettably, had passed away in 1963 and 1970, respectively. Although he did not find the familial secret distressing, Nicholson thought it wasn't traumatic. Jack Nicholson holds the record for the most Academy Award nominations for a male actor, with a total of 12 nods, 8 for Best Actor and 4 for Best Supporting Actor. He shares the unique achievement of being nominated for an acting Oscar in 5 different decades with other legends like Michael Caine, Meryl Streep, Paul Newman, Katharine Hepburn, Frances McDormand, Denzel Washington, and Laurence Olivier. Nicholson has won 3 Oscars, placing him in a tie with Walter Brennan, Daniel Day-Lewis, Ingrid Bergman, Frances McDormand, and Meryl Streep for the second most wins in acting categories, just behind Katharine Hepburn, who has 4. Nicholson is also an active voting member of the Academy. In May 2008, California's then-Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger and First Lady Maria Shriver announced his induction into the California Hall of Fame at the California Museum in Sacramento. The ceremony took place on December 15, 2008, where he was honored alongside 11 other notable Californians. Additionally, in 2010, he was inducted into the New Jersey Hall of Fame. In 2011, Nicholson received an honorary Doctor of Fine Arts degree from Brown University during its 243rd commencement, where the university's president, Ruth Simmons, praised him as the most skilled actor of our lifetime. At the age of 13, Nicholson relocated to California in order to be closer to his sister. He also accepted a position at the MGM Cartoon Studio as an office worker for animation directors Joseph Barbera and William Hanna. They saw Nicholson's artistic ability and offered him a low-level job as an animator, but he turned it down, saying he wanted to be an actor instead. Following his successful training as an actor at the Players Ring Theater, he was cast in TV soap operas and on stage in tiny roles. He played the title character in the low-budget juvenile drama The Cry Baby Killer, 1958, his first motion picture appearance. His breakthrough as an actor came from this important first movie. What happened after his first big movie? Let's find out. Early in his career, Nicholson was anything but glamorous. For years, he played supporting parts in television shows and low-budget Roger Corman movies, including The Little Shop of Horrors and The Terror. Nicholson appeared in several low-budget films early in his career, including The Little Shop of Horrors, as the masochistic dental patient and undertaker Wilbur Force, The Raven, and The Terror, as a French officer seduced by an evil ghost. He also starred in the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. He frequently collaborated with director Monty Hellman on low-budget westerns like Ride in the Whirlwind and The Shooting, which gained cult followings in Europe. Additionally, he appeared in The Andy Griffith Show and starred in the 1960 film The Wild Ride. Rise to fame. In 1970, Nicholson took on a major role in 5 Easy Pieces, acting alongside Karen Black, which really shaped his career. Both Nicholson and Black received Academy Award nominations for their performances. Nicholson portrayed Bobby Dupay, an oil rig worker, while Black played his girlfriend, a waitress. Black pointed out that Nicholson's character was quite reserved, contrasting sharply with Nicholson's actual personality. She mentioned that the famous restaurant scene was partially improvised by Nicholson and didn't really fit Bobby's character, who wouldn't have bothered to argue with a waitress. Black remarked, I think Jack really has very little in common with Bobby. Bobby seems to have given up on love, while Jack is still very much interested in it and eager to learn. Jack is a curious and vibrant person, always open to new ideas. Nicholson himself echoed this sentiment, saying in an interview, "I enjoy listening to everyone. To me, that's the essence of life." Black later confessed that she had feelings for Nicholson from the moment they first met, even though their relationship was short-lived. He was incredibly handsome. He had this way of looking right at you. I really liked him. He seemed interested in dating me, but I didn't see him that way because I was with Peter Kastner at the time. Then I went off to film Easy Rider, but we didn't get to work together. At the premiere, I spotted him in the lobby afterward, and I just started crying. He didn't get it, but the truth was, I loved him a lot, and I only realized it when I saw him again, as all those feelings came rushing back. Just a month after its release that September, Five Easy Pieces became a huge hit, turning Nicholson into a leading man and the new American anti-hero, as noted by McDougal. Critics began to wonder if he could become another Marlon Brando or James Dean. His career took off and so did his earnings. He remarked, "I have become much sought after. Your name becomes a brand image like a product. You become Campbell's Soup, with 31 different varieties of roles you can play." He instructed his new agent, Sandy Bressler, to seek out unique roles that would challenge his acting abilities. "I enjoy portraying characters that haven't been seen before, a cusp character," he explained. "I have this creative drive. Just like Chagall lifts figures into the air. Once it becomes part of the mainstream, it doesn't feel particularly daring or strange anymore." In 1970, Nicholson was in the movie adaptation of On a Clear Day You Can See Forever, but unfortunately, a lot of his scenes ended up being cut. His agent also turned down a leading role in Deliverance because the producer and director, John Boorman, wouldn't meet the payment demands. The following year, in 1971, Nicholson took the lead in Carnal Knowledge, a comedy drama directed by Mike Nichols, alongside Art Garfunkel, Anne Margaret, and Candice Bergen. He received a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actor. Nichols believed that very few actors could pull off the role, stating, "There is James Cagney, Spencer Tracy, Humphrey Bogart, and Henry Fonda. After that, who is there but Jack Nicholson?" During the shoot, Nicholson formed a close friendship with Garfunkel, and whenever Garfunkel visited Los Angeles, he would stay at Nicholson's place in a room that Nicholson humorously named the Arthur Garfunkel Suite. Nicholson took on various roles, including in Hal Ashby's The Last Detail, 1973, where he starred alongside Randy Quaid. His performance earned him the Best Actor award at the Cannes Film Festival and a nomination for his third Oscar, as well as a Golden Globe nomination. Television journalist David Gilmour mentioned that one of his favorite scenes featuring Nicholson is the often censored moment when he slams his gun on the bar, declaring himself the Shore Patrol. Critic Roger Ebert praised the film, highlighting Nicholson's acting as the standout element. He creates a character so complete and so complex that we stop thinking about the movie and just watch to see what he'll do next. In 1974, Nicholson appeared in Roman Polanski's noir thriller Chinatown, where he played Jake Gittes, a private detective, earning another Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. The film also featured Faye Dunaway and John Huston, with a cameo by Polanski himself. Ebert described Nicholson's performance as sharp-edged, menacing, and aggressive, noting that it prevented Chinatown from being just another typical crime film. He emphasized the significance of this role in Nicholson's career, marking a shift from the exploitation films of the previous decade. As Jake Gittes, he stepped into Bogart's shoes, Ebert remarked, pointing out that Nicholson's character was appealing to audiences because he embodied both comfort and danger. From that point on, Nicholson developed a persona of someone who had experienced everything yet could still find humor in it. Nicholson had a long-standing friendship with Polanski, which continued even after the tragic slaying of Polanski's wife, Sharon Tate, by the Manson family. He supported Polanski during the difficult times that followed her death. After the incident, Nicholson reportedly started sleeping with a hammer under his pillow and took time off from work to attend the trial of the Manson family. In 1977, just 3 years after the release of Chinatown, Polanski was taken into custody at Jack Nicholson's residence for the sexual exploitation of 13-year-old Samantha Geimer. She was modeling for Polanski during a magazine photo shoot by the pool. At that time, Nicholson was away filming, but his girlfriend, actress Anjelica Huston, unexpectedly visited to collect some things. She overheard Polanski in another room say, "We'll be right out." Shortly after, Polanski emerged with Geimer and introduced her to Huston, leading to a brief conversation about Nicholson's 2 large dogs that were nearby. Huston remembered that Geimer was wearing platform heels and seemed quite tall. After a few minutes, Polanski packed up his camera equipment and Huston saw them leave in his car. The next day, after Polanski's arrest, Huston informed the police that she had witnessed nothing inappropriate and did not see them together in the other room. Later, Geimer found out that Huston wasn't actually supposed to be at Nicholson's house that day, as they had recently split up, but she had stopped by to grab some of her things. Geimer described Nicholson's home as, definitely, a typical guy's place, filled with wood and shelves overflowing with photos and memorabilia. One of Nicholson's major achievements happened in 1975 when he took on the role of Randall P. McMurphy in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This film was based on Ken Kesey's novel and was directed by Milos Forman, with Michael Douglas as a co-producer. In the movie, Nicholson portrays a rebellious patient in a mental institution who becomes a motivating force for the other patients. Danny DeVito also appeared in the film as one of the patients, marking one of his early roles. Interestingly, Nicholson later discovered that DeVito was from the same part of New Jersey and that they shared many mutual acquaintances. The film garnered 9 Academy Award nominations and won 5, including Nicholson's first Oscar for Best Actor. This role seemed tailor-made for Nicholson, as biographer Ken Burke pointed out that his smart-ass demeanor perfectly complemented his genuine concern for his fellow patients, showcasing his independent spirit that clashed with the oppressive environment. Forman encouraged Nicholson to improvise during filming, especially in the group therapy scenes. Reviewer Marie Brenner highlighted that Nicholson's powerful performance transcends the screen, uplifting the other actors and easing their portrayals of mental illness with his humorous dialogue. In 1975, Nicholson appeared in Michelangelo Antonioni's film The Passenger, alongside Maria Schneider. He portrays a journalist named David Locke, who, while on assignment in North Africa, decides to leave his journalism career behind and adopt a new identity. However, the identity he assumes belongs to a deceased weapons smuggler who was on the run. Film critic Seymour Chapman noted that Antonioni's unique storyline featured engaging dialogue and strong performances. The movie was filmed in various locations, including Algeria, Spain, Germany, and England. It received positive reviews and helped restore Antonioni's status as a prominent director. He aimed for the film to have a more spy feeling and to be more politically charged. Nicholson started filming with an incomplete script, but after finishing, he was so impressed with the film that he purchased the global rights and shared his experiences of working with Antonioni. Penelope Gilliatt, a critic and screenwriter, describes Nicholson's character in The Passenger as a raw depiction of a weary man whose only thrill left is to take risks. Throughout the film, we see him repeatedly flirt with danger, finding excitement in living on the edge. He approaches this with a sense of detachment, almost as if he's engaged in a lifeless game of daring fate. Jack Nicholson's portrayal is remarkable, showcasing how to bring life to a character that seems almost non-existent. In 1976, Nicholson continued to explore more unconventional roles. He had a minor part in The Last Tycoon alongside Robert De Niro, and took on a less likable character in Arthur Penn's Western The Missouri Breaks, 1976, mainly to collaborate with Marlon Brando. Nicholson was deeply influenced by Brando's talent, recalling that during his younger days as a theater assistant manager, he watched On the Waterfront around 40 times. He once remarked, "Marlon Brando had a huge impact on me. It's tough for those who weren't there to understand the effect he had on audiences. He has always been the guiding light for actors." He also mentioned, "I'm part of the first generation that looked up to Marlon Brando." Nicholson has pointed out that even though both De Niro and Brando are celebrated for their method acting skills, he himself is rarely labeled as such, which he views as a success. "I'm still fooling them," he shared with Sean Penn. "I see it as an achievement because I probably have a deeper academic understanding of method acting than anyone else, and I actually apply it more in my performances. But it's amusing that people don't really recognize that. It's all about perception versus reality, I suppose." Did his popular film The Shining receive major awards? Even though he didn't win an Academy Award for his role in Stanley Kubrick's adaptation of Stephen King's The Shining, 1980, his portrayal of writer Jack Torrance is still one of his most notable performances. Kubrick had initially chosen Nicholson for the role, while King preferred a more relatable everyman type. Ultimately, Kubrick prevailed, praising Nicholson's acting as comparable to legendary stars like Spencer Tracy and Jimmy Cagney. To prepare for the role, Nicholson tapped into his own experiences as a writer and limited his sleep to maintain a tense state during filming. His co-star, Shelley Duvall, remembered that they spent a lot of time discussing their characters, with Nicholson insisting that his character should be distant from her from the beginning. On set, Nicholson consistently stayed in character, and if Kubrick felt he was well prepared, he encouraged him to improvise. For instance, Nicholson came up with the iconic "Here's Johnny" line and a scene where he expresses his frustration at his wife for interrupting him. Kubrick's perfectionism led to numerous takes, with Nicholson filming a scene with the ghostly bartender 36 times. He remarked, "Stanley's demanding. He'll make you do a scene 50 times, and you have to be on your game to handle that." Nicholson received his second Oscar, winning the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his portrayal of retired astronaut Garrett Breedlove in the film Terms of Endearment, 1983, which was directed by James L. Brooks and featured Shirley MacLaine and Deborah Winger. According to McGilligan, this role showcased one of Nicholson's most intricate and memorable characters. He and MacLaine approached their scenes in unique ways, always experimenting and making changes. McGilligan notes that their interactions contributed to the film's buoyant edge, describing Nicholson's performance as Jack floating like a butterfly. Throughout the 1980s, Nicholson remained highly active in the film industry, appearing in movies like The Postman Always Rings Twice, 1981, Reds, 1981, where he played the writer Eugene O'Neill with a subtle intensity, Prizzi's Honor, 1985, Heartburn, 1986, The Witches of Eastwick, 1987, Broadcast News, 1987, and Ironweed, 1987. He received 3 more Oscar nominations for his work in Reds, Prizzi's Honor, and Ironweed. John Huston, the director of Prizzi's Honor, praised Nicholson's acting, stating, "He just illuminates the book. He impressed me in one scene after another. The movie is composed largely of first takes with him." In the 1989 Batman film, Nicholson took on the role of the deranged villain, the Joker. The movie became a worldwide success, and his deal allowed him to earn a share of the box office profits, estimated between $60 million and $90 million. Nicholson expressed pride in his portrayal of the Joker, calling it a piece of pop art. Retirement. In 2001, Nicholson became the first actor to win the Stanislavski Award at the 23rd Moscow International Film Festival, recognized for his exceptional acting skills and dedication. That same year, he starred in The Pledge, a mystery drama where he played Jerry Black, a retired police detective determined to solve the slaying of a young girl. His performance received acclaim, with Bob Graham from the San Francisco Chronicle describing it as deeply felt compared to some of his other works. In 2002, Nicholson appeared in Alexander Payne's comedy drama about Schmidt, where he portrayed a retired actuary from Omaha, Nebraska, who reevaluates his life after his wife's death. His subtle and restrained acting earned him nominations for several prestigious awards, including the Academy Award and the Golden Globe. In 2003, he took on the role of a tough therapist in Anger Management, helping an overly passive man played by Adam Sandler. That same year, Nicholson also starred in the romantic comedy Something's Gotta Give, directed by Nancy Meyers, where he played an aging playboy who falls for the mother of his young girlfriend, earning a Golden Globe nomination for his performance. Later, in late 2006, he returned to a darker role in Martin Scorsese's Oscar-winning film The Departed, a remake of Infernal Affairs, portraying Frank Costello, a notorious Boston Irish mob boss inspired by Whitey Bulger, who was still evading capture. This role garnered Nicholson widespread critical acclaim and several award nominations, including a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor. In 2007, he co-starred with Morgan Freeman in The Bucket List, directed by Rob Reiner, where they played two terminally ill men who set out to accomplish their dreams. To prepare for his role, Nicholson visited a hospital in Los Angeles to observe how cancer patients dealt with their conditions. Nicholson's next film role brought him back together with James L. Brooks, the director known for hits like Terms of Endearment, Broadcast News, and As Good as It Gets. This time, he took on a supporting role in the 2010 movie How Do You Know, which starred Paul Rudd, Reese Witherspoon, and Owen Wilson. Unfortunately, the film didn't do well at the box office or with critics. In a September 2013 article for Vanity Fair, Nicholson mentioned that he didn't see himself as retired, but he felt less motivated to be in the spotlight. As of 2023, How Do You Know is still the last film he appeared in, bringing his total film count to 80. In 2013, he co-presented the Academy Award for Best Picture alongside First Lady Michelle Obama, marking the 8th time he had done so. On February 15, 2015, Nicholson made a special guest appearance during the 40th anniversary of Saturday Night Live. After the passing of boxer Muhammad Ali on June 3, 2016, Nicholson participated in an exclusive interview on HBO's The Fight Game with Jim Lampley, discussing his friendship with Ali. In 2017, there were reports that he would star in an English-language remake of Tony Erdmann alongside Kristen Wiig, which would have been his first film role since How Do You Know, but that project was ultimately scrapped. In October 2019, when the sequel to The Shining, Dr. Sleep, was released, director Mike Flanagan revealed that he had approached Nicholson for a cameo, but Nicholson declined, wishing the project well. Flanagan also mentioned that Nicholson had been considered for a role in Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One, 2018. During an episode of Marc Maron's podcast on November 2, 2023, record producer Lou Adler, a close friend of Nicholson, shared a story about the actor's unofficial retirement, noting that he hadn't acted in 13 years since How Do You Know. Adler recounted that a friend of his had wanted to cast Nicholson in a movie and had a conversation with him about it. Legal issues. In a criminal complaint submitted on February 8, 1994, Robert Blank reported that Nicholson, who was 56 at the time, approached Blank's Mercedes-Benz while it was stopped at a red light in North Hollywood. After accusing Blank of cutting him off in traffic, Nicholson took a golf club and smashed the roof and windshield of Blank's car. A witness backed up Blank's version of events, leading to misdemeanor charges of assault and vandalism against Nicholson. However, the charges were dropped after Nicholson apologized to Blank, and they reached a private settlement, which reportedly included a $500,000 payment from Nicholson. In 1996, Nicholson faced a lawsuit from a woman named Catherine Sheehan, who claimed he offered her $1,000 for intimacy and then assaulted her when she requested the payment. Sheehan initially received a settlement of around $40,000, but later filed another lawsuit, arguing that the amount was not enough to cover her injuries, including brain trauma, which she claimed were severely affecting her health. Ultimately, the case was dismissed. Iconic films. Nicholson's career took a significant turn in the 1980s with his iconic portrayal of Jack Torrance in Stanley Kubrick's adaptation of Stephen King's The Shining. This was followed by a string of successful films including Prizzi's Honor, Terms of Endearment, which earned him his second Oscar, and The Witches of Eastwick. He also played the infamous Joker in Tim Burton's Batman. The 1990s saw him starring in various films like Mars Attacks and A Few Good Men, for which he received another Oscar nomination. Awards. Jack Nicholson holds the record for the most Academy Award nominations for a male actor, with a total of 12 nods, 8 for Best Actor and 4 for Best Supporting Actor. He shares the unique achievement of being nominated for an acting Oscar in 5 different decades with other legends like Michael Caine, Meryl Streep, Paul Newman, Katharine Hepburn, Frances McDormand, Denzel Washington, and Laurence Olivier. Nicholson has won 3 Oscars, placing him in a tie with Walter Brennan, Daniel Day-Lewis, Ingrid Bergman, Frances McDormand, and Meryl Streep for the second most wins in acting categories, just behind Katharine Hepburn, who has 4. Nicholson is also an active voting member of the Academy. In May 2008, California's then-Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger and First Lady Maria Shriver announced his induction into the California Hall of Fame at the California Museum in Sacramento. The ceremony took place on December 15, 2008, where he was honored alongside 11 other notable Californians. Additionally, in 2010, he was inducted into the New Jersey Hall of Fame. In 2011, Nicholson received an honorary Doctor of Fine Arts degree from Brown University during its 243rd commencement, where the university's president, Ruth Simmons, praised him as the most skilled actor of our lifetime. What are your thoughts on the true story behind the once wild partygoer and iconic performer? Share your opinions in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you tuning in.